Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 9th of March, comes to you from London. And the dollar's recovered a little bit this morning, so we're seeing the dollar just rising there back into bullish territory short term. No really clear upside targets. We've got one here actually at 94, which is about 4% upside, but nothing else. And really, to buy this rise, we want to see more targets to the upside, and we've got quite strong resistance here, which it has been adhered to as well. So this could well be short-lived given the bearish medium and longer term trends. Looking at the euro, that's of course falling as a result of that stronger dollar, so euro dollar falling, and the Japanese yen, we're seeing the dollar rising against the yen. Again, we've got one upside target there. Sterling then falling against the dollar into bearish territory on that dollar strength. And so we are just seeing that falling back as well. And against the euro, sterling has the slight upper hand this morning, but very little difference, just coming into bullish territory, but pretty flat. And we see here euro sterling rates have been very static really the last few months. Looking at the Swiss franc, sterling rising there, so just weaker franc, and against the Australian dollar just falling there. Sterling is falling against a stronger Australian dollar, basically. The Australian dollar going up a little bit in sympathy with the US dollar. Bitcoin, another big fall this morning, so we're down 5%. So sitting now at below $9,000. So we are just seeing that falling away there. And the US stock market, the S&P 500 index, just sitting again fairly static, just coming back into bullish territory short term. We really have actually been for about a week now in that bullish territory, just testing that support level. But we would be good to see a rise to the week. Even just closing higher than that high that we saw in February would give us some degree of comfort that the market was actually recovering. So we just need to keep an eye that actually happens. And the Nasdaq again just nudging this previous level of resistance. It is a basing pattern. So it does suggest that we will probably move to new highs on the Nasdaq. We've got upside targets. Nothing terribly spectacular. This one here of 20% upside would need to be activated. But this is what the market has needed, because remember at the start of the year I said I was concerned that there was a shortage of upside targets. This pullback, this push forward has given us a new upside target. So that's what, from a point and figure perspective, we need to see the market doing. And we've done that also on the Dow Jones index, where we've activated a new upside target. The Russell 2000 index was down slightly overnight, so just not performing quite as strongly as the main indices, but we are in bullish territory here on all three charts, so broad recovery is looking on the cards. The S&P 500 future is up about 0.5% this morning, so that's good news. The market does look like it will open higher, and the Nasdaq E-mini is virtually unchanged, down 0.01%. So at the moment, the S&P future is just suggesting we will see the US open a little bit higher. FTSE still in the doldrums and struggling. It's really hard to be bullish on these charts, on the short and medium term charts. Long term, we may well see a recovery. Of course, Europe is really just waiting for the US. Here we see the FTSE Mint 250. That's looking much stronger than the FTSE 100. So we are seeing UK mid-caps looking better. The Xetra DAX also looking better there, and the CAC 40 also just starting to recover a little bit, but you're still very much waiting for US market direction. Japan was up 0.4%, that weaker yen, stronger dollar helping. And if we look at the Hang Seng, we're up over 1%. This has been probably the strongest market in Asia, really, through the crisis, and still looking pretty strong over the last year or two. China now recovering. Short-term chart is looking bullish, and the medium-term chart doesn't have too much work to do on the lagging line to get through. We've got upside targets here of 5 and 3.2%. Looking at the Indian market, it was up just over 1/3%. Still a little bit in the doldrums there, and the Aussie market was also up just, but still a little bit bearish on the short-term chart. Brent crude is looking bearish on the short term, and this medium-term chart just starting to wander into the bearish zone. Remembering that crude oil tends to fall in the second part of the year, and in recent years that has actually been really skewed more towards after the first quarter. So we are seeing signs there that WTI also just coming off, and we do have downside targets of as much as 4%. US nat gas, we're seeing here just trending lower. And looking like it will that will come under pressure as well. And also just looking at gold, we're back into bearish territory on the short-term chart in gold and on silver as well. So that's just looking a little bit bearish. Looking at 10-year yield sitting at 2.8%. Interesting in the US today, waiting for the payrolls numbers. Be interesting to see what effect that has on the 10-year yields when we get that announcement. Apple still just not quite making new highs. We are just teetering along there. Amazon looking strong still. It's probably one of the strongest looking stocks in the tech majors. It's just amazing performance, making new all-time highs. So really has bucked the trend there and run ahead. Alphabet, which is Google, of course, is just starting to recover through on the short-term chart. And Facebook now in those 180s, so looking better than it has been of late, but really needs to break into the 190s to get out of this sideways range. And looking at Microsoft, we see here that Microsoft is continuing to recover, and that's looking pretty strong as well. So the key thing is today, can the US market hold these gains, close a little bit higher, give us some comfort that we are actually in recovery mode. That's it for today. Until Monday, have a great weekend. Happy charting. See you then.